Bam! And just like that, we're on full motion. Once again, welcome to that here show of stories written by a current prisoner. As you already know, with your favorite journalist, Tony, giving you an inside dive inside the minds of people that were heavily involved. You know what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen? I'm going to be honest with you. I truly go out of my way to contact and to seek people that were heavily involved in the level fours, heavily involved in the mix, people that were truly politicking, people that really did that. You know what I'm saying? Your boy Tony is truly with the homicide unit. That's truly what I devote myself to, is to contact these types of individuals. I'm not trying to contact your level ones, your level twos, you know what I'm saying? People who are trying to flaunt their paperwork. To me, that's such silliness and such childish acts. To be honest, you should be embarrassed of yourself. You know what I'm saying? For those of you who want to get in direct contact with me, go ahead and send me a direct message at prisonstorytony@gmail.com. Prisonstorytony@gmail.com. You know, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be dropping a lot of heat. So hit that subscribe button and check this out real quick, man. If you haven't already caught on, if you haven't already seen what's happening and what unfolds, it never ends well. The two mobsters that are involved in this story, both of them have already met their fate. One of them is not in good standing, and the other one has since been murdered by one of his own. So it just goes to show, man. Last week, another mobster got killed. A couple months before that, another one got killed. People that are involved with this type of stuff, it just does not end well for you. It does not end well. So if you have a chance now, listen to me. Listen to these words. Change. Change while you can. Before you throw it all away. Before you lose yourself. And then you have to look in the mirror and really portray to be this tough guy. Why? Because that's all you have left. Because that's all you have left. Think before you lose it.
Hi, good afternoon. Here's another little story, and I'm sending this story out with a little message for those that are still, thinking it's all good, to get up in the system and I'll be a soldado. It's gonna be a better honor, get up in there, welcome on the big homies, and earn mines. It don't always work like that. And this story is basically just of two individuals that were in that character. Now, like I mentioned yesterday, I don't encourage nobody to go PC. I don't encourage nobody to tell. I don't encourage none of that. I encourage people to value those. I understand we're a product of our surroundings. But with that being said, that word or that phrase specifically says it. Our surroundings, your carnales, your barrio, those. But if someone really cares about you, they don't want you in the gutter your whole life. You know what I mean? They want you to do something, make money, make a family. Those are true carnales. When I went in '97, I had a lot of them. When I got out almost in 2012, I had not one. And I'm not saying because they didn't want to be there, because I had 10 road dogs on the street and all 10 of them died. So just think about that. But here's a little story. Well, I will jump a little bit forward, and this was towards the end of 2004. I had already hit Pelican Bay shoe due to an accident that happened in Corcoran. And when I was in Corcoran, someone had already subpoenaed me to go out to court and be a character witness for him. So when I was in Pelican Bay, they pulled me out. Now, when you go out to court down south, they they keep you in Chino as a validated person. Sureño, I went to Palm Hole. Now in Palm Hole there was quite a few pilis, but I want to speak about two specific ones. That in my eyes they were dirty as. I'm not gonna call them out their name, but they were just two dirty individuals. The first one I want to talk about is Tigre from Avenues. When he was still up with all that, He had a lot of power, and everybody knew this. Right there in Palm Hall, in the group yard or in the sections, all señores had their righteous their righteous pool, or they were in charge of areas. They divided themselves in the areas that correspond to each one of them. Tigre was in charge of the rutina on the yard. Now I could give it for Tigre, he was a workout monster, you know, and but he would overdo it, Like there's one thing, to work out, and another thing is what he was doing, Like for example, the whole yard he wanted us doing workout, He'll give a 20 minute towards the end of the yard to pass wheelers around, pass messages around, shake the homie's hand, and get back in the cell and start programming in the cell. But like for example, I had already been in the shoe for a couple of years, so I was used to rutina. I was used to all that, But there is some young homies that, in reality, when there's camaradas on the line, they're not used to doing rutina every day. There's a lot of homies that go out there, bump the radio, chill with the homies, both just basically do their time their way. Not everybody is thinking about just rutina, being ready for war. It just don't work like that. Not everybody thinks the same. There's a lot of short termers too, that just want to get in there, do their little time, and go home. Well, something happened, and there was some young homie that went out there to yard with us, and you can't have those expectations of them when they're fresh off the main line, because they just don't have it like that. I mean, every other hole or shoe yard that I was in, they would tell you, we understand, and if you can't do it all, stand up and run in place. When you can't, get back down and start doing it again until you get used to it, you know. But Tigre wasn't like that. The first day he got out there, he couldn't do it, so he stand up, but he was so out of it he couldn't even run in place. So Tigre gave him a warning that day, told him that if by next yard he couldn't do the whole rutina, he was going to get regulated. You know, it don't even work like that in most cases, because when you get disciplined, everybody knows it's three step. You do your discipline through burpees, more exercise. First time, second time, you will get regulated hands on, and then the third time you don't get with the program, you get removed. And those are the most strict senores that I ran into, But Tigre was on a whole different level. The second time around, the homie tried his best, but he couldn't do it. So he told him straight up, next yarda, you got a south side incoming. Which, the homie said, okay. Now keep in mind, there's a lot of young homies that before hitting one of those whole yards with a big homie, they lock it up straight from the gate. They don't just don't want to mess with them. Especially in this time. So I'm talking about the times where you never ran across them. You had to literally go back to the shoe and to the validated side of the shoe to run across them. So, anyways, the homie came out, to receive his outside. But before this, Tigre had already appointed three cats, and one of them I was pretty cool with, and he got at me and he told me, hey, check this out. And he said, Tigre wants us to use fierros on this homie. He wants them removed, period. He talking about he don't want no weak gente around him, If they can't keep up with the program, then they're just taking space. Get them out the yard. Excuse my language. So, I thought it was like, damn, hell no. You're supposed to make a homie, not break a homie. especially a young one with the date coming up soon, But at the same time, I didn't say nothing because it wasn't my place to say it. And then I was a sureño. I couldn't undermine a big homie. So, anyways, they went out there and they took care of the young homie. And it was like a damn. Can't believe this guy. But I was only there for court. But in the little time I was there, I got to see that 2 times with Tigre. Now, the other one was Frank B. He was in charge of mainly keeping rules and regulations and on the yard and on inside. And everybody tried to keep away from him because they knew he was one of them grouchy old man. Even though he was constantly in and out, he was still grouchy. And there was a young homie, goes from Merced, real young. He got in when he was 17, went through that Tehachapi program, and I believe at this time he was like 19. But he was back there, and it was five of us standing there. We were just talking, and just out of nowhere, Frank B walks up to us and he starts counting one, two, three, four, five sureños, and then he pointed at himself and one norteño, and you vatos can't do shit about it. None of us said anything because, true reality, unless you're gonna piece it up, that's gonna be your ass anyways. Because at that time, Frank B put a green light on you. Nowhere, nowhere you went in the system, it was gonna be safe. But for some reason, he had it out for this young homie. He said that the young homie actually said something back, which wasn't true because I was right there. That had, and basically he got at the young homie Sally and told him, to remove him. He don't want no loudmouth homies around him or in the Sureño program. So, just one night it's nobody knew, just one night we just started hearing, and the hooters went up in there and they took him out on the stretcher and they straight he bursted the homie. He was a young homie. He was little and skinny but a lot of people talk about S and Y and this and that, but you gotta also understand there's a lot of big homies at least from the Sureño side that are like this. In no way, shape, or form am I saying every single one of them is like this, because there's some cool ass big homies, you know, and I will get into their stories too, but more than anything, there's a lot more like this, like they don't believe in making a homie, they believe in breaking a homie, and if they can't break them, then they're welcome in the circle. It don't work like that. You build a soldier. You don't expect them to be an A1 soldier from the gate. It's not cut out to be like that. I mean, I bet they weren't like that. For one, Frank B never worked out when I was there. So, but it's just basically, it is why I started this video the way I started it. Because I feel for the camaradas now, that are walking the main lines with the big homies, and I just could just imagine how the program is now that they're out there. But it's just like I said, value those around you. Value your hood, value those that will shed for you. Because at the end of the day, in prison, you're another Sureño just like the next man, and a big homie's just gonna stay. He can't get with the program, or they just don't like you for X thing. Remove him. He's taking space. There's another Sureño that's gonna take his space, because there's thousands of Sureños up in there. So just for those, I could tell you, I hit San Quentin when I was 19 years old, and my first celly was a big homie that had came down from Pelican Bay and was gonna parole in Salinas and had slipped through the cracks. But when I walked in there, he didn't tell me, and I was one of them 19 years old with a low double life sentence. And, every time they popped the door, I was on it, I was on it, going up to the fifth tier or going on yard side, on the norteños. And every time I walked in that cell, he just shook his head at me. But I was one of those that I seen his head shook, and I was like, "What's up, homie? There's something you gotta tell me?" Nah, nah, nah. I ended up getting a lot of love for this man. And one day he just sat me down and told me, youngster, sit down, and he pulled out his real paperwork. But that'll be a little story for the future, because that's the story I want to tell on how I got mixed in all this, and you know, it's just I basically got mixed in this, and I got so deep in it because of him, and I appreciate it. He put his shoulder around me, and he taught me right, and that's why I laugh sometimes when I see videos that Sureños from down south think homies from up north different way. That's a lie, or at least if they do, they keep it to themselves. Because I know for a fact in the level fours, 270, 180, in the hole in the shoe, if you set trip in any way, form, or shape, you will get your jugular cut. Because we're under the same umbrella. We sweat and bleed for the same cause. So, but with this being said, hopefully I'll be able to get another video out there to you guys soon. I hope everybody stays blessed. Thank you.